Today's news highlights. Date May 8, 2025. News highlights: the recent rapid appreciation of the new Taiwan dollar has attracted market attention. The media reported that the governor of the Bank of Korea pointed out that the United States pressured the appreciation of Asian currencies, but Lian Xianming of the Chinese Academy of Economics and Du Yujin of the AI Laboratory pointed out that the original text did not clearly refer to it, and the Taiwan media may have mistranslated and overinterpreted. Lian Xianming's analysis believes that the market reacted to expectations in advance. The U.S. exchange rate position is unclear, and the Taiwan dollar's independence is unusual, which may not be the result of pressure from the U.S. side. The executive branch clarified that the negotiations with the United States did not involve the exchange rate, and the appreciation was mainly due to market confidence and foreign overbuying. News highlights: U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent and Trade Representative Greer will meet with Chinese Vice Premier He Li at the summit in Switzerland on Saturday, the first formal contact since the outbreak of the U.S.-China trade war, which is seen as an opportunity for negotiations. The U.S. side emphasizes that economic security is national security, and hopes to use the talks to cool down the situation. Trump said that China's attitude has changed under tariff pressure. The market reacted positively, and U.S. stock futures rose. The talks were positioned as paving the way and as a starting point for informal negotiations. News highlights: the Pakistani military claimed to have shot down 5 Indian warplanes and 1 drone, emphasizing that they were all carrying out self-defense operations in Indian airspace and that they had not lost any troops. India has yet to make a formal response, and if true, it would be the largest military loss in decades. Earlier, the Indian Army's air raid on the stronghold of militant groups in Pakistani-controlled areas triggered an exchange of fire on the border between the two sides, causing civilian casualties, and the situation heated up sharply, causing international concern, and the U.S. side called for a quick de-escalation of the conflict. News highlights: the United States and China will hold high-level economic and trade consultations in Switzerland from May 9 to 12, led by Chinese Vice Premier He Li and U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent, in the first formal dialogue since Trump's tariff war. He Li is a close confidant of Xi Jinping, with a deep economic and negotiation background, and is expected to be high. Switzerland's neutral status provides an ideal place to negotiate. The two sides hope to use this meeting to de-escalate the situation, and although no major agreement is expected, it will lay the foundation for reshaping global supply chains, which will have far-reaching implications. News highlights: Warren Buffett warned at the Berkshire shareholder meeting that U.S. fiscal policy is worrisome, criticizing government profligacy and rising debt that could hurt the value of the dollar. He revealed that the company has increased its investment in foreign currencies, such as the yen is exposed, and may also use other national currencies for financing in the future. Warren Buffett opposes protectionism and high tariffs, believing that global prosperity is good for American security. Despite criticizing the government's wastefulness, he remained bullish on U.S. investment opportunities, emphasizing the long-term performance of the stock market and reminding investors that uncertainty is always present. News highlights: at a time when the tariff strategy between China and the United States is slowing, AI chips have become a new focus. Trump claimed to be considering cutting tariffs on China due to the sharp increase in pressure on China's economy, but the United States still strictly controls the export of NVIDIA H20 chips, reflecting the continued heating up of the technology war. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang made a flash peek in China, showing that the Chinese market is still strategically valuable. While the U.S. is pushing the semiconductor supply chain back to China, China is accelerating the development of domestic AI chips, such as Shengtang and Kunlun chips, in response to the U.S. blockade. Technological independence has become the core of the game between China and the United States, and the global AI industry chain is facing a critical period of restructuring. News highlights: the establishment of a sovereign wealth fund by the United States has aroused Taiwan's renewed concern about the issue of establishing a sovereign wealth fund. The central bank supports the establishment of a sovereign wealth fund and proposes a special law and an independent management body, but stresses that foreign exchange reserves should not be used as a source of funds, for fear of undermining the central bank's balance of assets and liabilities. It is recommended that the source of funds be the issuance of bonds or appropriations by the Ministry of Finance, and the funds entrusted by the public sector shall be the first batch of funds. The central bank pointed out that the management agency must have flexible regulations and market-based salaries to facilitate professional operation and long-term investment performance. News highlights: the Trump administration's announcement that it intends to revoke the AI proliferation rules on AI chips introduced by Biden before leaving office has attracted market attention. The measure, which was supposed to prevent China from accessing advanced chip technology through third parties, has been criticized by the tech industry for being too cumbersome and stifling innovation. The new policy will simplify the rules and tighten export restrictions to transshipment countries such as Malaysia and Thailand. NVIDIA shares rose 3.1% on bullish news. The Trump administration emphasized that it will safeguard the leadership of US AI, while responding to the dissatisfaction of allies in the Middle East and other countries. News highlights: Yang Jinlong, governor of the central bank, pointed out that if China establishes a sovereign wealth fund, it can refer to the experience of Singapore and South Korea, and the first source of funds can be set up by the Ministry of Finance by issuing bonds, grants, or contributions, but it should not directly use foreign exchange deposits. Yang stressed the need for a special law to establish a professional management body with independent legal personality, and to establish a sound governance and supervision structure to ensure that the operational objectives are in line with government policies and attract international professionals through market-based salaries. The report proposes 3 sources of funding, including bond issuance, appropriation, and funding by the Ministry of Finance. News highlights President Donald Trump's announcement of reciprocal tariffs in April briefly hit global stock markets hard, and the Nasdaq index was also affected, but then quickly rebounded and closed in the red. The legal person pointed out that the fundamentals of technology stocks are sound, and the outlook for AI and cloud business is optimistic, and it is recommended that investors invest in U.S. stock ETFs on DIPs. The market believes that the shock comes from the lack of confidence and the deterioration of non-fundamentals, and the technology giants such as Nvidia and Amazon are resilient. At present, the valuation of U.S. stocks has corrected, which is the time to enter the market. Taiwanese investors can consider tracking the Nasdaq 100 Fubon or CITIC ETF and choose according to their premium and interest distribution needs. News highlights the standard of taxation of housing tax is closely related to the actual use, especially the arcade space. If the owner converts the arcade into a business purpose, such as setting up stalls, setting up tables and chairs, or placing merchandise display racks, it will lose its nature as a public passage space and will be subject to housing tax according to the business purpose. Even if the arcade is still open to traffic during certain hours, there may be additional taxes or penalties for acts such as fencing or pulling down iron gates. The public should be aware of the possible tax implications of the change of use of the arcade. News highlights 175,000 candidates in Taiwan are about to take the National Middle School Education Examination, and a week before the exam, there is a crowd of people praying for blessings in Wenchang temples in Taiwan. People go to the representative Wenchang Palace in various places to pay homage, including Taipei Wenchang Palace, Zinswang Wenchang Temple, Taichung Nantun Wenchang Temple and Tainan Confucius Temple, hoping to get the blessing of Emperor Wenchang and the title of the gold list. The temple provided blessing ceremonies such as sparse texts and gold seals, and the candidates' economy heated up simultaneously, driving the purchase of stationery and blessing products. The Wenchang faith has become the spiritual pillar of candidates and parents, and it also shows the modern continuation of traditional beliefs. News highlights the incident of Tsinghua University's basic video narrative course highlights the controversy that can arise from the blurring of political and educational boundaries on campus. The professor asked students to make a video script with the title of Great Strike and accounted for 30% of the total score, which caused students to question whether they interfered with teaching with political stances. Although the original Po claimed that he had no specific political stance, he felt uncomfortable with the course direction and grading method, and finally chose to withdraw from the course and posted a message to remind other students to pay attention. The incident resonated and criticized many netizens and students, who were worried that academic freedom would be eroded by their political stance, and also called on schools to clarify the principle that teachers should maintain neutrality in teaching content. News highlights drama brother Yang Ning shared his friend's experience of being defrauded. A single mother in order to increase her income, mistakenly believed in the high-reward investment on the internet, and gradually increased her weight after making a small profit in the early stage, and finally was deceived into investing in Macau Yunke, falsely claiming to have won 30 million. But was required to pay a deposit of 3 million first. She borrowed loan sharks to pay the money, and eventually fell into a nightmare of nearly 60,000 yuan in interest per month. Yang Ning reminded the public, do not be greedy for cheap, do not believe in high returns, and call for vigilance against fraud traps and protect financial security. News highlights Disney announced that it will build the world's 7th theme park in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, located on Yas Island on the coast, and cooperated with the local Merle Group, which is expected to attract tourists from the Middle East, Africa, India, and Asia. The move not only adds to the magical atmosphere of the desert capital, but also highlights the UAE's status as an emerging hub for finance and entertainment. News highlights although a middle school girl in Kaohsiung had a leaking kettle that wet the carpet in the car when she took a Tesla Uber, although she apologized and cleaned up, the driver first claimed 20,000 yuan from the cram school, and then demanded a total of 41,000 yuan, causing dissatisfaction and a lawsuit from the parents. The driver's words were fierce and even choked threats, causing netizens to lash out. After the incident was extended, the driver publicly apologized on the 7th, admitting that he was out of control of his emotions, and was willing to bear the cost of vehicle maintenance, hoping to properly resolve it through tripartite talks with his family. News highlights U.S. President Donald Trump announced that he would make a major statement that would shake the world, triggering speculation about whether the United States and Taiwan will establish diplomatic relations. At this time, the U.S. State Department abruptly removed the U.S. Taiwan Relations web page, retaining only travel information and statements on China's military exercises. In this regard, the State Council explained that because most of the data has not been updated for more than 2 years, it will be archived and processed in a unified manner. However, in February this year, the US side just adjusted the content of the US Taiwan and China pages, and the tone of support for Taiwan was upgraded, and the wording on China became tougher, which triggered greater associations. News highlights 38-year-old Asia-Pacific actress Zhang Rongrong has a low-key life after marriage, and has been married to musician Ji Jiasong for 12 years and has a daughter. Recently, she attended an event of the Family Support Foundation, calling for the protection of children's cybersecurity, and then returned to her residence in Wenshan district with a total price of 38 million yuan, seemingly in a hurry to pick up her daughter from school. She wore denim shorts to show her slender legs, and after the event, she was also down to earth in the supermarket collar, living a simple and people-friendly life. News highlights singer Lin Junja was recently exposed by netizens on threads about buying sex and intervening in emotional disputes, and said that he had an indecent video, which attracted attention. The brokerage immediately denied and refuted the rumors. The netizen soon changed his story and said that he had reached a settlement with Lin, received a 7-figure compensation and wanted to send 1,000 chicken cutlets, but asked for a private message account, causing fraud suspicions, and then deleted all posts and closed the account. The truth of the incident is unknown. News highlights 42-year-old singer Yan Yofan was born in super celebrity list, and recently revealed in an interview that he was in a car accident due to dodging a telephone pole in college, and was run over by a container truck over the lower half of his body, resulting in serious injuries to his pelvis and spine, and even facing loss of sexual function. During the treatment, she underwent 3 surgeries and 14 critical illness notices, and her mother never left her company. He spent 10 years rehabilitating and learning to walk, eventually regaining function and completing his studies, and now he is calmly facing the after effects and thanking his family for their support. News highlights South Korean child star Kim Se-ryan passed away in February this year at the age of 24, and he was rumored to be in a relationship with actor Kim So-hyun before his death. Recently, her recording before her death was exposed, claiming that due to the huge pressure of public opinion and rumors, Kim So-hyun and 2 media people were named in the recording, and even had the idea of committing suicide. Kim So-hyun's company refuted that the recording was forged by AI and sued the whistleblower and the channel. The incident is still under investigation, and the truth has sparked heated discussions. News highlights Zheng Haihao changed greatly after marriage, and had a daughter Xiao with Meggie, who quit drinking for the sake of the family, returned to the clinic for health, and laughed that he was like his father He Yu-hang, indulged before marriage, and retracted after marriage. Meggie once dreamed that He Yu-hang had a dream twice and asked her to hug her son instead of her, which made Zheng Haihao burst into tears on the spot. The family of 3 lives a simple and warm life, and he is grateful to his wife for getting him back on track and regaining family values. News highlights Han Xian-guang, a veteran Taiwanese musician and former judge of the Golden Melody Awards, suffered a cardiac arrest while playing badminton in Shanghai, China yesterday, 7th, and is still intubated in the hospital and unconscious. Friend Li Ji confirmed the incident and cheered him on, and another friend looked for the contact information of his family on Facebook, hoping to assist him in returning to Taiwan for treatment in the future. News highlights blogger breakup sister Chen Paipei broke the news on IG on the 7th that her ex-husband and actor Lotte had domestic violence in the past, accusing the other party of cold violence before and after marriage, emotional uncontrollability and even physical violence and threats, which traumatized her physically and mentally. She admitted that she chose to get married because of her love brain in the past, but now she has the courage to expose the truth, hoping to arouse the society's understanding and attention to the victims. News highlights the beginning of the summer solar term debuts, and the numerologist Chu Yanlong warns that the fierce evil chambered fire pig star is powerful, and Pluto retrograde until October, which may bring disaster and suppression at the national and individual levels, and it is necessary to beware of virus infections, cardiovascular and cerebrovascular diseases, and respiratory diseases. Mars energy surges, the military and police will be busy, and leaders will be brave enough to fight. Sheep, Aquarius, Twins, and Lions have more good fortune and noble fortune during this period. News highlights Democratic Progressive Party, DPP. Aboriginal legislator Wu Luo sued Kuomintang legislator Lu Xian's assistant Zhang Fengshuo for allegedly forging documents and violating the election and recall law. The Pingtung District Prosecutor's investigation found that a number of people's personal information was fraudulently used to participate in the recall and signature, including the deceased and non-Aborigines, which caused controversy. A woman surnamed Zhong was summoned to realize that her personal information had been stolen, and angrily issued a message to remind the public to pay attention. Wu Luo stressed that the recall should be based on free will, demand a thorough investigation, and return justice to the tribe. News highlights according to a report by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC, Taiwan has become a relay point for online fraud and money laundering in Southeast Asia, and traditional gangs such as Bamboo Union and Sihai Gang have transformed into online fraud and gambling. The Investigation Bureau responded that the report had not been verified and the content was biased, and that it would still investigate Taiwan-related intelligence information. Legislator Wang Quoxiong criticized the government for sternly refuting or investigating and not sitting idly by and watching its international image be damaged. The news sparked heated discussions among netizens, with some ridiculing the government for avoiding the important and trivializing negative reports. News highlights: the dollar index fell 5% in a month after U.S. President Donald Trump announced reciprocal tariffs. Foreign exchange analyst Ren Yongli warned that Asian countries may sell up to $2.5 trillion in assets, causing an avalanche of the dollar. The report singled out long-term trade surplus countries such as China and Taiwan for fear of repatriating funds, exacerbating pressure on the dollar. The market is concerned about the fragile trend of the dollar, and Warren Buffett also issued a rare warning, criticizing the U.S. fiscal policy for causing the dollar to depreciate, saying that the future trend may be very scary. News highlights: on the evening of the 7th, there were 5 major car accidents in the Ren section of National Highway No. 1 in Tainan, resulting in 1 death and 5 injuries. The accident was caused by the container truck suspected of not paying attention to the blockage of the construction section ahead, and the vehicle crashed into the deceleration and caused an accident. A 31-year-old woman surnamed Lu was driving south to Kaohsiung with her friends, when she was hit by a large car in front and behind. The front of the car was completely destroyed, and Lu died on the spot. The National Highway Police have reported to the prosecution for examination, and the cause is still to be clarified. News highlights: many people eat nutritional supplements to supplement their health, but doctors warn that micronutrient deficiencies are still common, such as vitamin D, B12, iron, etc., and specific ethnic groups need to pay special attention. Endocrinologist Cai Mingja pointed out that vitamin D deficiency is related to less sunlight and uneven diet, while B12 is prone to vegetarian deficiency. Excessive amounts of antioxidants such as vitamins A and E may cause side effects, and more is not always better. It is recommended to give priority to a balanced diet and lifestyle habits, and then supplement nutritional supplements prudently. News highlights: in addition to being a common drink, cola can also be used as an aid in the emergency room. Emergency physician Wang Zihua pointed out that the high sugar, acidic and caffeine properties of cola can be used for emergency use for hypoglycemia and sugar supplementation, dissolving fecal stones and promoting gastrointestinal peristalsis. However, he stressed that these uses are limited to emergencies and cannot be used as daily treatment, and he suggested that patients should still go back to the outpatient clinic to adjust their medication or receive professional treatment to avoid overburdening their bodies. News highlights: Chu Zongheng's wife Vicky invested 6 figures to open a peace bento shop, which has been in operation for more than 2 months, and has suspended only selling lunch during dinner hours due to cost overruns, and is considering cooperating with a delivery platform to share the pressure. She said frankly that the initial revenue mostly depended on favors, and it took 3 months to see the strength. Due to the fierce competition in the hot area, the store is looking forward to expanding more customer sources in the future. The cost of in-store incubators and the cost of air conditioning in summer have risen, and we are still adjusting our business strategy. News highlights: a LU student shared his experience of coming to Taiwan to exchange experiences on Zaya Hongshu, and was surprised that the seriousness and feedback of Taiwanese teachers on homework is very different from the indifferent and formalized teaching common in mainland education. She said that Taiwanese teachers would peruse homework, annotate responses, and even prepare notes for reports, which made her feel valued and respected, which resonated with a large number of mainland students, calling the Taiwanese study experience touching and unforgettable, and the sincere teaching interaction was flattering. News highlights: the distance between us and evil 2 explores the emotional connection between the perpetrator and the victim's family. Zhou Yuman plays a psychiatrist, and when asked if anyone in his life catches him, he emotionally mentions that when his performance is poor, he is supported by director Cai Yuexun, and when he is depressed, he is accompanied by his ex-girlfriend Des, thanking the nobles in his life. Talking about Des's death this year, he said in a low-key manner that it is not appropriate to talk too much about emotions publicly, and respecting the family is the most important thing. News highlights: students from the Chinese department of Tsinghua University broke the news that some teachers in the course combined political issues with coursework and asked students to make a film project to promote the recall, accounting for 30% of the total score. The student said that she originally chose the course because she liked movie-related content, but unexpectedly, the course content turned to politics and the teacher forced the student to accept her political leanings, which made her feel uncomfortable. The students stressed that they were not politically inclined and were dissatisfied with the assignment, criticized the teacher for giving biased grades, and urged students to be cautious when choosing courses. This incident sparked heated discussions among Qing students, who criticized the teacher's misconduct. News highlights: actress Su Weining recently reported that she was 4 months pregnant, although she and her husband Xu Ziyi's agent did not respond positively, but veteran actress Chen Maifeng accidentally revealed in public, "I am very happy for them," and smiled. Su Weining posted on social media for the first time since the news of her pregnancy was exposed, sharing a work photo of herself, without revealing the change in her posture. Previously, netizens found that when she was dating Xu Ziyi, Su Weining was wearing shorts, her slender legs did not show signs of pregnancy, and she often shared her healthy dishes on social platforms. News highlights: an adjunct teacher at Kaohsiung City Air University involved political issues during his lectures, publicly made biased remarks, alluding to Xi Jinping's connection with the Blue Bird movement, alluding to Han Kuo-yu's recall process as a vote, and joking that politicians die early and overlive. City Councilor Kim Woon-chung asked the school to intervene in the investigation and questioned the teacher's suitability. Principal Chan Yuk-doon responded that he had started an investigation into the classroom situation, emphasizing that the school would maintain educational and administrative neutrality, and conduct a review of teachers in accordance with the school's regulations. News highlights Jianing has recently caused a lot of controversy due to the turmoil on the YouTube channel crowd, especially the public confrontation with his old love Andy, and it was revealed that the Kunhai Entertainment founded by his mother was suspected of tax evasion, and the family of 4 was listed as defendants and paid bail. After the incident, Jianing updated a faceless cooking video on the 7th, and wrote on the cover, "Sour is a memory, spicy is something you dare not say," which seems to be intended to express her feelings. However, the text content in the video was questioned by netizens that it was generated by ChatGPT, which caused heated discussions, and some people ridiculed her for whether she really cooked herself, and ridiculed her situation for having been transformed into a food channel. News highlights Kuomintang chairman Zhu Lailun has recently sparked controversy over ghostly signatures and political remarks. Zhu Lailun previously described the DPP and its supporters as the Green Communist Party, and accused Li King of acting like Hitler to the opposition party on the 7th, which triggered strong condemnation from the German Association in Taiwan. Wang Wanyu, chairman of the Power of the Times Party, also criticized Zhu Lailun's inappropriate remarks, accusing him of disgrace to the whole world, and strongly condemned the KMT's attitude on the issue of democracy. This incident once again highlighted the controversy over the KMT's speech and behavior, and aroused social concern. News highlights Winbond, 2344, released a message at the legal conference, pointing out that the market rush to order and the demand for memory rebounded, driving the stock price to rise sharply in early trading on the 8th. And pushing the stock prices of peers such as Nanya Technology and Pnan to rise simultaneously. Chen Piming, general manager of Winbond, revealed that the Trump administration's reciprocal tariff exemption period has brought short-term supply constraints, and some orders are facing delivery problems. The company will launch 2 4 NMSLC NAND chips and focus on high-growth applications to enhance its competitiveness. News highlights tomorrow at 10 a.m. Thursday at 10 p.m. Beijing time. The Oval Office of the White House will hold a major press conference announcing a major trade deal with an important and well-respected country, which will be the first of many, U.S. President Donald Trump announced in a Truth Social post. News highlights recently, the exchange rate of the new Taiwan dollar has appreciated rapidly, and it has appreciated sharply by nearly 2 yuan for 2 consecutive trading days since May 5, which has made legislator Hsu Fui worry that this will impact the island's tourism industry. Minister of Communications Chen Shikai pointed out that the appreciation of the Taiwan dollar has 2 major impacts on CIT. One is that it is cheaper for Taiwanese people to leave the country, and the other is that it is more expensive for international tourists to come to Taiwan for consumption. Although the impact is not significant in the short term, it may reduce the number of tourists visiting Taiwan in the long term. Chen Shikai said that the tourism department will pay close attention to the number of tourists and provide assistance to the industry in need, and called for the promotion of the Taiwan Tourism Revitalization Plan to the level of the Executive Yuan for cross-ministerial integration. News highlights Joseph S. Nye Jr., a world-renowned political thinker, passed away on the 6th at the age of 88. He is the founder of the soft power theory, which emphasizes that states should use attraction rather than military coercion to drive international change, influencing countless policymakers. Nye's theory of soft power states that values such as democracy, human rights, and individual freedoms are profoundly alluring and more effective than force. He has long followed Taiwan's democratic development, visited the country several times, and predicted in 2024 that Taiwan will face more trade pressures, especially under the Trump administration. He has been widely recognized for his academic and political contributions, and has received numerous government and academic honors. News highlights Fed Chairman Jerome Powell recently said that the Fed will not rush to cut interest rates until the trade policy is clear, and hinted that Trump's tariff policy may delay the rate cut by at least a year. He mentioned that tariffs could affect inflation falling short of the 2% target, which would delay the rate cut plan. However, Powell also added that this is only one of the possibilities, and the specifics depend on the impact of the tariffs. Nonetheless, the market reacted lukewarmly to Powell's comments, with interest rate futures showing that the market expects little change in interest rates over the next few years. Powell also subtly responded to Trump's criticism, emphasizing the uncertainties and risks facing the economy today, noting that the current economy is more challenging than the solid growth of the past. News highlights on the evening of the 7th, about 45,000 people poured into Vatican Square, waiting for the smoke display of the results of the Pope election. The original plan to release smoke at 7 p.m. was delayed to 9 p.m., and black smoke rose from the chimney of the Sistine Chapel, indicating that the first round of voting was inconclusive, causing a lot of discussion at the scene. Many people were going to take photos or live stream with their families, but waited nearly 2 hours before seeing the black smoke. As for the postponement of the election, the Italian media speculated that it could be related to chimney technology or ballot verification issues, but the Holy See did not provide clarification due to the full secrecy of the election. The Pope election will continue on the 8th, with the results announced at noon and in the evening. News highlights: on her way back to Luang today, 8th, Beishaden Mizzou attracted a large number of believers. At 9:59 a.m., a mother hugged her 4-year-old child, who could not speak, and wept emotionally, praying for Mizzou's blessing. The sedan crew deliberately stopped, letting the sedan bottom touch the mother and daughter, and the scene was warm and touching. Mizzou's sedan chair entered Zia Shui Senior Engineer in Zhonghua County at 10:11 and stopped to allow teachers, students, and the public to pay homage. Beishaden Mizzou has entered the 8th day of incense, and today's itinerary is a little tight, and it stops at Puyan Elementary School on the way, so that the children are excited to wave and shout, "Mizzou, I love you." Netizens enthusiastically discussed Mizzou's love for children and her lively personality. News highlights: the Federal Reserve, Fed, decided to keep interest rates unchanged and warned of rising inflation and unemployment risks, especially due to Trump's tariff policy. Chairman Powell said it remains unclear whether the economy will grow steadily or slow down due to uncertainty and rising inflation. He stressed that there is also uncertainty about how monetary policy will respond to these challenges. Since the March meeting, uncertainty about the economic outlook has intensified, with increased risks of inflation and unemployment. Due to the unpredictable impact of Trump's tariffs, the Fed has remained on the sidelines for now and said it will decide whether to adjust interest rates depending on the performance of the labor market. News highlights: Beishaden Mizzou stayed at the Zhonghua Tianzhong town office at noon on the 7th, and moved to the Zihu sugar factory in the evening. This morning, Mizzou's sedan chair has arrived near Shun's palace in Zhonghua. Su Maihua, a science and technology expert, revealed that she received a message from volunteers from Zhonghua's Yaifeng constituency, saying that Mizzou was stationed in Zihu to pray for blessings, and said movingly, "Mizzou must have heard our voice in Zhonghua." After this post was exposed, it attracted many Jadebird support messages, calling on everyone to actively participate in the second-order recall and thank Mizzou for her blessing. Many netizens also excitedly said that Mizzou's driving location was close to the recall headquarters, hoping that Mizzou could bless the recall and bring positive power. News highlights: a 60-year-old male worker was suspected of collapsing and falling due to the collapse of the scaffolding, hitting the ground on his head and losing signs of life on the spot during the construction of the scaffold on the 9th floor of a building on Manping Street. At the time of the incident, the worker was standing on an scaffolding about 2 to 3 meters above the ground and was suspected to have fallen due to the collapse of the scaffolding. Firefighters rushed to the scene after receiving the report, performed cardiopulmonary resuscitation, CPR, on the worker, and took him to the hospital for emergency treatment. As for the specific circumstances of the incident, further investigation and confirmation are still needed. News highlights: on the 6th, singer Lin Junja was accused by netizens of allegedly seeking sexual services from specific people, and said that he was related to the flight attendant's ex-girlfriend, and also claimed to have leaked videos. The netizen threatened that if Lin Junja did not face it, he would release the video and issue a non-suicide statement. However, on the evening of the 7th, the netizen's breaking news article has been deleted, and Lin Junja's agency later issued a statement, saying that the motive of the netizen is unknown, but calling on the public not to believe the rumors. News highlights: the Labor Insurance Bureau of the Ministry of Labor began to issue the National Pension Insurance Maternity Benefit today, 8th, and eligible people can receive 2 months of maternity benefits at a time, with a single child of 39,522 yuan, and the amount of twins and triplets will be adjusted in accordance with regulations. The Labor Insurance Bureau reminds that the application for maternity benefits has a 5-year statute of limitations, and you will not be able to apply after the deadline. In addition to maternity benefits, 18 allowances, including national pension insurance annuities and subsidies for old farmers, will be issued in the next few days. News highlights: Taiwan Railway received a report on the 7th that a Vietnamese man surnamed Hu lost about 4 million yuan in cash on the shuttle bus bound for Xinying. After the incident, the conductor immediately contacted the Xinying Railway Police and handed over the handling at Xinying Station. The missing black tote bag was filled with cash, and the preliminary amount was about $4 million, and the surveillance footage is being investigated to clarify the incident. This amount is expected to be the highest cash recovered case in the history of Taiwan Railway. The police reminded passengers to pay attention to their belongings when taking public transport, and to report any suspicious situation to station staff immediately. News highlights: the well-known gym chain Iron Fitness has recently experienced business problems one after another, and the Taipei Nangang store and Taichung Nantan store have closed down one after another. In March, the Nangang store was closed without warning, which shocked members. The Nantan store was originally scheduled to turn off the lights on June 1st, but on the 6th, it was suddenly announced that it would close its business with immediate effect and pull down the iron door. As a result, many members suffered losses and complained to the Legislative Affairs Bureau of the municipal government. The Taichung City Legislative Affairs Bureau has received a number of complaints, calling on the industry to provide refund options, and suggesting that consumers can apply for refunds through credit cards. News highlights: family medicine physician Chen Xinmei pointed out that lutein is not a panacea for eye protection, and patients with poor vision are not necessarily related to lutein deficiency. For example, a patient who had been taking lutein for half a year but his vision was still deteriorating, and it was diagnosed that the problem was not lutein, but that there was no targeted nutritional supplementation. She emphasized that there are many kinds of eye problems, and different problems such as dry eye, macular degeneration, and cataract require different nutritional treatment. It is recommended that people should seek medical attention to determine the condition of their eyes before taking health products, and supplement appropriate nutrients in a targeted manner, such as vitamin C for cataract patients and probiotics and fish oil for dry eye patients. News highlights: Mandy will hold a wedding with Wang Xiaofei, but a series of scandals have broken out recently. Ex-husband Robert revealed that Mandy was cheating in marriage, and pointed out that her marital infidelity included taking different men home for the night and disturbing the noise, and there were even screenshots of the conversation showing Mandy's violent reaction to begging for mercy. More Weibo netizens revealed evidence that Mandy was dating 3 men at the same time while she was married, and the timeline showed that she was dating multiple men between 2020 and 2023, including wedding dress man, real estate man and digital man. These revelations caused an uproar, and although the man's friend denied the rumors of the wedding cancellation, it failed to calm public attention. News highlights: Kuomintang chairman Zhu Liluan recently compared President Lai Ching-te's actions to the Nazi regime, accusing him of potentially harming democracy and persecuting opposition parties, drawing condemnation from international organizations such as the German Institute in Taiwan and the Israeli office in Taiwan. The agencies stressed that it was inappropriate to compare Nazi atrocities with the current situation in Taiwan and expressed disappointment with Chu's remarks. Zhu Liluan responded that the Nazis were a brutal regime condemned by mankind, but democracy could also lead to dictatorship, and all dictators who threaten democracy and human rights should be condemned. He stressed that what should really be reflected on is Lai Ching's approach, not criticism from the outside world. News highlights: the recent continuous appreciation of the new Taiwan dollar has aroused market attention, and the president of the central bank, Yang Jinlong, stuttered when answering questions at a press conference on the 5th, and the outside world questioned whether he had a weak heart. Yang Jinlong clarified today, 8th, when he went to the Finance Committee for inquiry that he stuttered because of his bad eloquence, and there was nothing difficult to say, emphasizing that the statements issued by the central bank were all facts. He explained that exchange rate fluctuations are difficult to predict, and the central bank is committed to keeping the foreign exchange market stable, and market sentiment has returned to stability recently. Regarding the Bank of Korea's statement, Yang Jinlong pointed out that it was misinterpreted by the media, emphasizing that there is no intention of the United States to pressure the currencies of Asian countries to appreciate. News highlights: President Lai Ching-te stressed in his speech today, 8th, to commemorate the 80th anniversary of the victory in the European war that Taiwan resolutely defends its homeland, opposes aggression, and adheres to peace. Drawing on the outbreak of World War II, he pointed out that the expansionist ambitions of authoritarian regimes pose a threat to the world, stressed that Taiwan will work closely with the international community, and called on freedom-loving countries and people to jointly guard against aggression. President Lai pointed out that the bitter lessons of World War II remind us that appeasing the aggressor will only inflate their ambitions, and stressed the current tensions in the Taiwan Strait, calling on global democracies to unite against authoritarianism. News highlights: India and Pakistan clashed over the Kashmir terrorist attack, and India attacked Pakistan-controlled areas on the 7th, and Pakistan immediately responded and shot down the Indian military plane. Pakistani Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif announced reprisals, stressing the need for justice for the martyrs. The exchange of fire between the two sides resulted in deaths and injuries and sparked international concern about an escalation. U.S. President Donald Trump and others have called on all parties to exercise restraint and avoid the conflict escalating into full-scale war. With the two countries possessing nuclear weapons, the development of the situation has attracted global attention. News highlights: the national recall movement continued to heat up, and on the 8th, the recall group of 3 legislators, including Su Kyoxin, Lai Shiveo, and Wang Hengui, went to the election committee to deliver the second-order signatures, and the achievement rate was made public. In response to the joint signature of the recall of Su Kyoxin, the leader Cao Xingcheng said that a total of 41,201 copies were submitted, reaching the legal threshold of 175%, becoming the highest in the country. Cao Xingcheng pointed out that voters in Songzhen district expect that after the recall, they will no longer waste tax money to support unfit legislators. Su Kyoxin responded with respect and stressed that he would definitely win the election. News highlights: Kuomintang legislator Hsu Yuchun questioned Li Jinyang, chairman of the Central Election Committee, mentioning that he had been involved in a document forgery case 40 years ago, and questioned whether Li had been searched or detained. Li Jinyang retorted, emphasizing that he was innocent at the time, and criticized Su Yuchun's questioning for not helping to cover up organized crimes. Celebrity Dr. Shen Zhenan criticized Li's response, and pointed out that the current judicial handling is excessive, interfering in the election and recall process. He believes that such cases should be investigated after the vote and that premature intervention would affect the independence of the judiciary, and expressed concern about excessive judicial involvement. News highlights: a 30-year-old Chinese woman accidentally dropped her GoPro camera while diving and decided to dive to find a tourist drowning incident on Kakabon Island, East Kalimantan Province, Indonesia. Unexpectedly, she encountered an undercurrent and eventually drowned in the deep sea. According to the report, Zhang's body was found at a depth of 87 meters, and the GoPro camera was later found and confirmed to record her last struggle. Police said the video would not be made public. News highlights: artist Liu Genghong recently sparked controversy after being accused of asking for clearance when recording a show at a rice noodle shop in Nanning. He and his wife Wang Wanfei denied the forced clearance in the live broadcast, and responded publicly, explaining that he was not the only one at the time, but other artists were present, and asked why it was only for him. His wife angrily responded to the black fan, "If you don't believe it, go out," and said that part of the controversy stemmed from the curse of netizens by family members. Liu Genghong originally had 70 million fans, but lost 9 million fans due to controversy and was reported to the police. News highlights: the trekking trip of Gongtian Palace Mizu in Baishaden, Meili has been launched since the 1st, attracting 330,000 participants, a record high. Artist Banana, Wang Junjia, also joined the ranks of incense, and on the way, he received the good news from his alma mater, St. John's University of Science and Technology, that he was selected as one of the top 10 outstanding alumni this year. Banana said that although he is busy with the incense trip, he is still grateful for Mizu's protection, and looks back on his deep affection with his alma mater, and promises to continue to give back to the society and help more people. News highlights: senior musician Han Xianguang was recently reported to have suffered a cardiac arrest in Shanghai, and was rushed to the hospital and intubated for rescue, and his current condition is not optimistic. Friend Li Ji posted on the social platform to cheer for Han Xianguang, and said, "The tavern appointment is still waiting for you." Since his arrival in Taiwan in 1978, Han Xianguang has been active in the music industry, serving as the leader and bassist of the rock group Phantom Eye Choir, and has also participated in many folk song concerts and the Long Live music program, and has collaborated with many well-known singers. Friends in the music industry have posted prayers and tried their best to gather their energy. News highlights: YouTuber Lee Jinho was recently involved in the turmoil between Kim So-hyun and Kim Se-ron, and was accused of being one of the culprits of Kim Se-ron's suicide. He held a press conference on the 7th to refute Kim Se-ai's accusations, and posted a post on social platforms criticizing Kim Se-ai for not worthy of being called a human. Lee Jinho stressed that the audio recordings provided by Kim Se-ai were faked using AI technology and showed his own debt accounts, saying that he could not pay for the so-called 1 billion won transaction. He issued a letter of war demanding that Kim Se-ai provide authentic evidence and hand over the recording to the investigative agency for verification. Mr. Lee also denied other charges and strongly demanded an apology from Mr. Kim. News highlights: a double corpse murder case occurred in Nanzi District, Kaohsiung City. This morning, 8th, found a pair of men and women in a vehicle near Ziuanan Road. The police have now gone to the inquest. A preliminary understanding of the relationship between the man and woman is father and daughter. The father is about 60 years old, the daughter is nearly 30 years old, was notified by the mother to assist in the search, but now it is obvious that he died. The detailed cause of death, the police are investigating to clarify whether there is an external force involved. News highlights: artist Liu Genghong was recently accused of asking for clearance when recording a show at a rice noodle shop in Nanning, causing controversy. He and his wife Wang Wanfei clarified in a live broadcast that they had not been forced to clear the venue and refuted that the accusations were untrue. Wang Wanfei was emotional because her family was cursed by netizens, and angrily choked black fans, "Then you go out." Liu Genghong said that he had reported to the police for the record, and stressed that the initial response was a sincere apology and no offense. The female netizen who broke the news also clarified that the object of the accusation was the program group, not Liu Genghong, saying that the customers in line were blocked and misunderstood as a clearance. News highlights: a 44-year-old single mother in the Eastern Cape province of South Africa beat a 65-year-old man to death in anger to save her disabled daughter who had been sexually assaulted. The incident aroused national attention, and public opinion strongly supported the mother's act of protecting her daughter, calling her a female warrior. Considering the special circumstances and social pressure, the prosecution finally dropped the murder charge. The provincial governor and officials also expressed their support, and the mother thanked the community for its solidarity and said that she would accompany her daughter to overcome the trauma and rebuild her life. News highlights: during the incense of Mizu in Baishaden, a man wearing a blue coat and red armband, an older man who often accompanies the shrine, aroused the curiosity of netizens. It turned out that he was a 63-year-old veteran member of the sedan chair class, Chen Baiong, who has been in the incense for 41 years, and is now a member of the Gongtian Palace, and is respected as an important figure in Mizu's conveyance of holy wool. He is responsible for assisting the portable shrine in its march and conveying instructions, and is believed to have a deep faith and experience in Mizu, and has had the experience of miraculous recovery from serious injuries, believing that he was the life saved by Mizu. News highlights: President Lai Ching-tak attended the 80th anniversary of the Victory in Europe Tea Party today. the first time the Ministry of Foreign Affairs hosted the event. In his speech, he did not mention the war of resistance against Japan, but only talked about the three major meanings of the victory in the European War: opposing aggression and defending peace, freedom and democracy as the basis for civilization, and cherishing peace and guarding against aggression. Emphasizing solidarity with the international democratic camp to meet authoritarian challenges, and quoting General Dwight D. Eisenhower, he called for strength to protect freedom. The move demonstrates Taiwan's position on deepening the value ties with its Western allies. News highlights: the Tainan District Prosecutor's Office investigated the case of the Kuomintang Tainan City Party Department involving ghosts, and today indicted 11 people, including Vice Chairman Zhuang Zhangkui. Prosecutors allege that in order to complete the recall proposal of DPP legislators Lin Zhongxian and Wang Dingyu within the deadline earlier this year, the person involved in the case used the personal information of party members to forge a roster of proposers and falsely signed and sent them to the Central Election Committee, violating the personal information law and forging documents. The case is seen as an illegal act that seriously undermines the electoral system and the protection of personal data. News highlights: 2 major serial car accidents occurred in the Ren section of National Highway No. 1 Tainan in just 6 days, and the latest one caused a tragedy of 1 death and 6 injuries, and the deceased was a 31-year-old female driver who was hit by a car that was almost completely destroyed. Although the detailed cause of the accident is still under investigation, according to preliminary information, the road section was suspected to be closed for engineering at that time, resulting in the impassability of the middle and inner lanes, and many vehicles failed to respond in time. News highlights: the Taipei District Court heard the Jinghua City case, and the witness Zhu Yahu testified that he had accompanied Shen Qingjing, chairman of Wujing Group, to the mayor's office several times to meet with the then mayor Kei Wenz, and speculated that the two sides had discussed the Jinghua City case. This case focuses on whether the interaction between government and business involves improper influence, which affects Kei Wen's image of political integrity. News highlights: at 6:55 this morning, the Nanzai oil refinery in Kaohsiung was shocked to see the body of the father and daughter in the car, and the police initially ruled out external intervention and judged that the father was suspected of being unable to take care of his sick daughter for a long time, and committed suicide with his daughter. The 59-year-old father and 29-year-old daughter were found to be obviously dead, and the mother rushed to the scene to identify the body and collapsed on the spot, only 3 days before Mother's Day. The tragedy is sour. News highlights: as of the end of March 2025, the total number of vehicles in Taiwan will reach 23.353 million, which is more than the population. The excise tax reduction policy promoted by the Ministry of Finance has been extended to January 7, 2026, with a maximum tax reduction of 50,000 yuan for automobiles and 4,000 yuan for locomotives. The application must meet the conditions such as the age of the car, the holding period, and the kinship, and provide the relevant documents for scrapping and car purchase, and the process will be refunded by the car dealer, which is applicable to all people in Taiwan.